Today on Cruiseman's Garage, we're installing a Utopia backrest onto a 2018 Honda Goldwing Tour. However, you can install this on any 2018 Goldwing. The Utopia backrest comes with everything needed for successful installation on a 2018 Honda Goldwing. Our installation begins by removing both side panels from the Goldwing. To do this, open both of the saddlebag doors on each side. Start on the left side and remove the first panel by pulling on it until the grommets release the pins that hold the panel in place. Take your time and do it slowly as shown. The right side panel removes in the exact same manner, and you should set both of these out of the way. On the right side of the motorcycle, in front of the saddlebag, you'll locate the heated seat connector. You can release this connector by pressing the tab at the top and back of the connector. Here you can clearly see the tab I'm referring to. It's on the back side of the connector at the top. You just press that in to release. The seat is held in place by two 6mm Allen bolts at the front of the seat. Here we're looking at the right side of the motorcycle. Use a 6mm Allen socket or an Allen wrench to remove these bolts and washers. It's a good idea to use masking tape to protect the paint on the shelter just in front of the seat. The front of the seat is held in place by large nylon pins on each side that fit down into rubber grommets in the shelter. By pulling up firmly on both sides at the same time, you can release these nylon pins. By holding the front of the seat up with one hand, use your other hand in the back of the seat and try to pull the seat forward and up. It may take some wiggling to do this. In this case, this is the first time this seat has ever been off the bike, so it takes a little extra work. It's a little tight. And you see those pins on the front. That's why we put masking tape to protect the paint, because you don't want those pins to hit the paint as you're removing the seat. Make sure the cable is clear and lift the seat off of the bike and set it off to the side. On the underside of the seat pan, locate the strap that holds the hole filler in place and release it. Then you can pull the hole filler out from the top. Using the two small self-piercing screws, install the Velcro bracket as shown at the rear of the opening. Make sure the Velcro is level with the little nubs inside the opening. You can use the Utopia backrest pad to raise the rear of the seat off the work surface as I'm doing here. Next, you want to insert these little T-nuts into the slots on the back of the seat pan as shown. If you're replacing an OEM Honda backrest, make sure to replace the T-nuts with the ones from Utopia. They are different. Next, slide the bracket through the opening in the slit, and you may have to press firmly to get it to go through the opening. Now, attach the 4 bolts to the T-nuts as shown. I'm using a 3/8" socket and a nut driver to tighten all 4 bolts. You can also torque these to 10 foot-pounds. Bending the plastic boot will help it fit the shape of the seat, and then you can install it as shown. At the back of the seat underneath, you'll find 2 nylon hooks. Those hooks will slip underneath these 2 pins on the grab rails. Towards the front of the seat, you'll notice a nylon tongue that will fit down into a slot toward the front of the shelter. At the very front of the seat are the 2 nylon pins that fit down into those 2 rubber grommets that we removed initially. The 2 rubber isolators at the very back of the seat sit on top of the flat frame rails. I use a little silicone grease on these rubber parts because it helps it slide a little bit easier when we reinstall the seat. Reinstall the seat, I'm starting by setting the back end down, and I'm just holding the front end up, and I'm getting the cable where I need it to be so I can reconnect that heater connector. Now I want to line up those pins with those nylon hooks in the back and make sure those are in place. The next thing is we're going to move the seat back as far as we can in those hooks, and you may even have to pound the seat a little bit, the little bolster, to get it to go back into place. Make sure the nylon tongue fits down into the slot on the shelter, and then push those nylon pins down into the grommets as shown. Now you need to visually check to make sure the holes line up to where the bolts go in. You may even have to push the seat back again a little bit further. Sometimes you even have to sit on the seat to get the holes to line up properly, and then replace the bolt and washer. There are 6mm Allen bolts on each side of the seat. That's what secures the seat to the frame. Don't forget to reconnect your heated seat connector. Okay, we're going to reinstall this side panel cover. They both install the same way. I want you to notice this little tab right here, because this little tab is going to slip in right here to this little slot. And that's what I'm going to start out with. I want to get that lined up first, and then we're going to put all of our little nubs here, or posts, that will go into the various grommets on the frame. You can see them. 1, 2, those are the front ones, 3, and 4 down here by the saddlebag. So let's line up that little notch. And you just have to kind of fiddle with this until you get a system down that you feel comfortable with, because this edge has to go under the seat here. So you just kind of have to play with it until you get it like that right there. Now we can slip that into that slot, and now we can begin putting these grommets in place. Sometimes you have to pull it out, kind of look at what you're doing, and then start over there. Okay, that you'll get a loud click sometimes. That's okay. And then punch it in. Make sure it's in good and tight. And now that body panel is back in place. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Line up the holes on the backrest post with the tube in the bracket we installed earlier. Use the 7/16 bolt and fit it through that tube through the other side, and then place the nut on the end. Tighten using a wrench and a pair of pliers. Release the lock nut under the adjusting bolt, and then use a 3/16 Allen wrench to adjust the angle of the backrest. You can adjust the height of the backrest using these 2 Allen bolts on the bracket.